Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And before I talk about the issue at hand, I just want to speak on behalf of all members of Congress that are present. We lost a colleague last night. Our colleague, Sylvester Turner, brand new Congress member representing Houston, the former mayor of Houston, and before that, a member of the state legislature, sadly passed away after the State of the Union. And I've known him for many, many years as a former mayor myself. In fact, he and I had a chance to work together when Houston hosted the Final Four, and then Phoenix was the next city to host the Final Four the next year. So he trained me up, if you will, on how to be a good host for the Final Four. He is a legend of public service in Texas, and we are glad to have the time that we had with him here in the United States Congress. We offer our condolences to his family and to all of the people of Houston. We will miss him. Today we're here to talk about the General Services Administration's Public Building Service. GSA is the agency in charge of managing government buildings, essentially the federal government's real estate agent. Now, many public buildings are underutilized. That is a sentiment shared by both Republican and Democratic administrations in the past. But rather than going through a proper channels to measure building utilization, the Trump administration moved straight to the lease termination and building disposal stage, announcing plans to dispose of more than 400 buildings and terminate 2,500 leases, more than half of the GSA's real estate portfolio. To be clear, this Congress, in a bipartisan way, agrees that we need improved efficiency. In fact, as the chair mentioned, the 2024 Water Resources Development Act, which was signed into law by President Biden in January, directed GSA, the Office of Management and Budget, and federal agencies to measure building utilization over a 2-month period and dispose of space if utilization was below 60%. There is a logical and orderly way to do this, but the Trump administration clearly has no intention of following the word of directive. Instead, there has been mass confusion. Landlords are getting termination letters that their tenants know nothing about. Parties in the middle of lease negotiations don't know what to do. These space disposals are happening at the same time President Trump has mandated a return to work for all federal employees. At the same time that they're making mass layoffs among federal employees, this appears to be a policy at war with itself. Federal employees are returning to offices that are being disposed of. Landlords are getting termination notices for leases that are still in the firm term period. Constituents are concerned that they will not have access to VA health centers, Social Security field offices, or customer service for IRS needs if they want to do anything face-to-face. All of this is happening, and the GSA staff can't or won't communicate. In fact, to get information, we've had to rely on word of mouth from federal employees and reports on the DOGE website, which lists hundreds of lease terminations, Social Security offices, VA offices, and IRS offices while we're in the swing of tax season. In my home state of Arizona, the list includes the Small Business Administration, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Railroad Retirement Board, the Forest Services Supervisor's Office, the entity that processes permits and disseminates information for the entirety of the Tonto National Forest northeast of my district, the largest national forest in our state. The forest building is an important hub for monitoring Tonto. If this building is shuttered, we don't know where this work will be done. It is a concern for those of us as we enter the fire season in the state of Arizona. The loss of those buildings can have implications. With the loss of the supervisor's office, this could mean problems for communication and coordination for wildfire response in our national forest. As you can tell, I have a lot of questions about all of this. And a few weeks ago, I met with the GSA's new Commissioner of Public Buildings, Mike Peters, who was leading the Trump administration's federal real estate right-sizing efforts. Commissioner Peters, at that meeting with me, accepted an invitation to participate in this hearing, and for some reason, we don't know why, he has changed his mind and he is not present today. I don't understand. We need to provide oversight over this process. Commissioner Peters has a responsibility to be here to explain this to Congress so that we can provide our appropriate oversight duties. Instead of asking Commissioner Peters my questions, I will pose my questions to the two witnesses who are here today, and thank you for being here. Dave Winstead from the Public Buildings Reform Board and David Maroney from the Government Accountability Office. Mr. Maroney, thank you for testifying before the subcommittee and sharing your research and knowledge of federal real estate. I admire your fortitude. Mr. Winstead, thank you for your public service on the Public Buildings Reform Board, and I look forward to hearing how the board identifies underutilized federal assets and how the process of recommending disposals to GSA and OMB can be improved upon.